Hello guys, this is Hamoudi from Bilu Media. Welcome to my channel. I have received a lot of requests from you guys to build a freestyle 5-inch drone, FPV drone, and today I will show you exactly how to build this. To build this drone you need of course some parts, and I have a selection here with parts that I think that will be great for this build and not so expensive. Actually this drone costs around $200–220 depending on where you buy the stuff and the period. I will put a link of all the parts in the description and some different parts that can make it into this build as well, similar prices. So for this we will gonna use the TBS Source 1 V5 frame. It's widely available frame and it's a great frame for budget builds, actually for any build, any freestyle build, 5-inch. Just be aware that this frame doesn't come with TPU parts, and this is why I have printed some parts here. But you can get away without printing those parts, but I like to protect my frame and to give it some color. But you definitely can use it without those parts if you don't have a printer. And for the stack we are using the SpeedyBee F4V4 stack. It's an amazing stack with 55 amps ESC, and it has a lot of cool features, and it's really great for this drone, and it costs around $70. You can use the version 3 from SpeedyBee as well for this build, but I wanted to use this one. For the camera we are using the Phoenix SE V2 camera. This is of course an analog camera and it's really great for this build. For the VTX we are using the SpeedyBee TX800. And you have two antennas in the box, this small one and this SMA antenna. You can use either one. I think I will use this one. And for the motors we are using the Maxino Performante 2207 1950 kV. They look sick in my opinion. Look at these guys, they really look amazing. I love the silver finishing on these motors and I think they will look very good on this build. And for the receiver we are using the ELRS RP1 from RadioMaster. On top of this build, since it's an analog build, we will use the GoPro 11 Mini for better quality. But if you want just to practice and have fun, you can use it without the GoPro of course, but for good quality you will see this will be perfect on this build. Let's start by building the frame. It's an easy frame and you have a ton of tutorials online to build this, but I will show you really quick how to build this. For this you see we have the bottom plate, this one, and the middle plate, and this comes between the bottom and the middle plate, and the arms come here. For the arms, if you can look here, you see that it's not a symmetrical shape. This part is more angled toward the interior. I mean it has an aggressive angle, and this one needs to be at the back of the drone and the front. So let me show you. So this one, more angled, will come like this, and this the same to the front, like this and like this. In the bag you see three types of screws, long one, short one and middle ones. For this now we need the middle one screws. Because we are using 30 by 30 stack, we will use the interior holes here. You can use the exterior holes as well if you are using a smaller stack, but we will use the interior ones. You need to keep the screws inside, I mean to not get over the carbon fiber, to be able to mount this one. So now we can put this one here and we can tighten the screws. Now it's time to put the standoffs, and for this you have two sizes. You have taller ones and shorter ones. The taller ones comes here and the shorter ones come here. And you need the shorter screws, the shortest screws that you have in the kit. In this step you can put the bumpers too if you have printed the bumpers. Next we need to mount the ESC on the drone, and for this we need the screws that come with the ESC with your stack, because in the frame we have those screws but they are small and they don't fit. So it looks like this now, and here we can put our stack. And if you use a smaller stack, 20 by 20, then you will use those holes and you will put the screw stacks here and the screws for the arms in the other side. So you will switch them together. Let's mount the motors now. I will show you for one and you will do the same for every motor. These are my motors. They look really nice. I love how they look. And I printed some wire protections. You don't need to use this. You can use a zip tie or a band for securing the wires. But I like how those looks and I want to use them. Before, you need to put the wires, because it's easier to put the wires like this here, otherwise it is a little bit hard after. Like this, perfect. Now let's put the protection, mount the motors. I printed those protection, but you don't need to do this. And for this, if you decide to print this, you need longer screws. I have here my screws, and you need an M3 10 millimeters, because the screws that come with the motors are a little bit short. And you simply slide this over the arm and you put the screws in the other side. Perfect. It looks like this, which is very organized and very nice. And now we will gonna do it for the rest of them. Perfect. Wow, all the motors magically appeared and the drone looks like this. It's starting to take shape and it looks really amazing. I like how it looks. We are ready to put our ESC in place, and this is how you put it. Motor number 1 is this one, number 2, 3 and 4, but you can flip it around if you don't have the space, but I think we have the space to put it like this. We will start by cutting our wires to length, because right now they are too long, and I will make them a little bit longer so I have room to play around. Something like this is good. And I will do the same with all the wires. Perfect. We have all the wires cut to length, and now we have to strip the ends of every wire to prepare them to soldering. We can strip the wire with our fingernail. It is not hard at all, like this, so it's really easy. Now the next step is to twist the wires a little bit so they will be easier to solder, like this. And now we prepare to tin the wires. This means to put a little bit solder on the end of the wire and on the pads, so it will be easier, much easier to solder. So for this I am using my helping hands. This is the helping hands. It's amazing. It's very good product to use. It helps you a lot, and it has some magnet bits here and some helping hands to hold your stuff. And for the soldering iron, guys, I'm using the MINIWARE TS101. It's amazing soldering iron. I used it in all my projects and I can't recommend it more, guys. This is really amazing iron. I really love it. Thank you MINIWARE for giving me this, and I have other MINIWARE soldering irons like this coming soon because it's really amazing. I love this thing. You can power it in the field with from a battery, a LiPo battery, or from an external battery, or directly from the outlet, which makes it really life-saving. I really love this thing, and it heats very fast. I have it now and I press it and done. So it took about 10 seconds to heat, which is really great in this hobby because I don't like to wait very much. So let's start by thinning the wires. So we have to put a little bit, not so much, like this. Next step is to put some solder on the pads themselves, and for this I advise you to use the Flux. This is really a good thing to help the solder stick faster and better. So you put some Flux here on the pads, just a little bit like this. I will put on the all pads since I will be soldering on all of these. And now we can prep our pads. I will put on those 3 and show you, and the rest of them is the same. You will do the same process. So put the iron on the pad and heat it a little bit, and then feed the solder. Like this. Perfect. Now it's a good time to use tweezers for this process because it's much easier and the wire gets very hot, and it's easier to do it like this. So grab the wire like this and put it here and press gently. Like this. I'm done. So like this. Perfect. I will do it for the rest of the motors and get back to you in a moment. Perfect. We finished this step and it looks nice, really organized. And now I want to connect the battery lead, but I want to do something different with this drone. You don't have to do it. You can put this one. This one arrives with the stack, and you can put it here and attach it. Do it like this, and you can take it out from the frame here and attach the battery. But I want to do something different. I printed this one, and here you put the battery connection, this one, and you put it here, and we attach it to the frame. So let's do this, but before, since it is a little bit hard to put it here and solder it in the same time, I want to solder the wires here and after put it in place. So for this, since I don't know exactly the length of the wire that I am using, I have some wires here, and I will connect the end, one end here, and after I will cut them when I connect them to the drone. We twist the wires and we tin those wires as well. And now we do the same thing here, and here we put some flux so it will stick easier. And that is perfect. It's not going anywhere. It's really secured and tight. And now we can put some heat shrink if we want. I don't think it will touch, but for safety we can put some heat shrink here. I have a bunch of heat shrink here tubes that is really handy. I advise you to buy the same, maybe not so much, but something similar. And I have this heat gun and I will use it to heat the tubes. So it looks like this, which is really clean and nice. I will put it now in my print here, like this. Perfect. Look at this, guys. It looks clean and amazing. I love how it looks. Before we do this, of course, we have to put it here. We have to put it something like this here, and it will go something like this. But before we do this, we have to put the ELRS receiver antenna because it's under this. So for this, I printed this holder for the antenna, and you put the antenna here like this, and you attach it here, which is perfect. And now we can put the battery holder. Look at this. This looks sick. This is amazing. Look, I mean, everything is really well organized and it will look really great. So let's prepare the wires here. So they will be something like this. Now I want to put the VTX under the cables here in this part, and I want to raise it a little bit with these grommets, and I will use the screws that remains, the long ones. I want to put the cable before attaching the VTX because it will be a little bit harder after. So let's put this cable here. And now we can put it in place. We can go ahead and secure the bolts with these nylon washers, nylon bolts I think they are called. The hard part is to put the antenna in place because everything is tight here. Perfect. Now I want to put the capacitor because here is a perfect place for the capacitor, and I printed a protection, and in the kit you have these like tubes to put it on top because we want to extend the capacitor here in the back and we need a protection a little bit. So this is the minus part and this is the plus. So here is the plus, the red one. So let's prepare the pads, the wires, and solder them here and finish this step. Now I want to attach the flight controller. We have a small cable like this and a bigger one, but in this project we will use the small one. So you attach it here, and in the ESC you have the same plug as this one, like this. And now we can secure the stack itself with these nylon bolts. Perfect. Now the stack is attached and we are ready to solder the VTX wires to the flight controller. So here is our VTX and here is the flight controller, and we have the 5 volts here, the ground down, the VTX here, and the IRC in the T1 pad. It's good idea to twist the wires and something like this. I will cut them here. 5 volts, ground, VTX and T1 here. So let's start with the T1, the VTX, the ground, and the 5 volts. Let's wire the receiver right now. So we prepare the pad first, the minus here, the 5 volts, the TX, and the RX. I have some wires here ready for soldering. Step is to protect the receiver and put some heat shrink on it. Now we are ready to attach it to this part. I will twist the wires a little bit. We can prepare the pads first. Since I will be wiring the camera right here, I will prepare the pads for the camera too in this step. We will wire the receiver on T2, R2, 5 volts and ground here. And the camera will be wired on this part. So we have the 5 volts here. The ground and the cam pad. Perfect. Now let's start wiring the receiver here. So here we have the T2, this means the transmitter, and we have to connect it to the RX, which is the green one in our case. And the TX from the receiver will go to the RX here, which is the yellow one in our case. Next, the ground and the 5 volts. Perfect, guys, we have only the camera left out and we are finished with this build. So let's put the camera. For this you have 2 plates, identical plates, and you have this cutting which will go to the downside. So we have those like this, and we have the camera with the run cam to the upper side. So it will be like this, and I will put the screws in the middle hole right here. This cap is too big for this frame and you can remove it, this lens hood. So it will look like this. Unfortunately in this frame it is hard to put it with the lens cap, so let's do it like this. It will look something like this. Now this is the cables that came with the camera. This one will connect to the camera and this one will connect to the flight controller. And this one I will remove because this one is used to control the settings of the camera and it doesn't work most of the time. And this one, it is up to you if you want to remove it or not. This one is used to control the settings of the camera via a small joystick, a small keyboard that you connected here, and you can control the camera via this. I will leave it and twist it around the cable, and if I will use it in the future, then I have it. I don't have the controller, the small joystick here, but maybe I will buy it, so I will leave this. But this one I will remove. You have to remove this pin, this plastic bit, and simply pull it out like this. Twist this around the cable, and if you will use it in the future, Then we have it right here. Perfect. And here I already prepared the pad, so we have 5 volts, ground and camera. So this one will come something like this. I will keep the cables here and I will cut them right here. I will keep a little bit longer like this. And now we can go ahead and prepare the wires. It's a good idea to use something to put on your flight controller whenever you can, because the solder usually jumps and can cause some damage for your flight controller, and if you can protect it, it's a good idea. The ground and the cam. And we are finished, guys. We did it. The last thing that we have to do is to put our cover, and we have the small screws that we used in the bottom part. They are the same screws. I printed a GoPro mount right here, so let's go ahead and put it here to mount the GoPro after, because it's an analog drone and we need something like this. Perfect, guys, so it's finished. Look at this beauty. It looks amazing. I mean, look at this. It's fantastic. It's really clean. It's sexy and I love how it looks. These motors are really great. Thank you very much, SpeedyBee and Amaxino, for making this happen. I really enjoyed this build, and without them I'm not able to do this kind of stuff. So thank you very much. Before trying this beauty, let's do the final touches. Let's put the battery pad here, and this, if you can see, there is a cutting holes, but they are not cut, so we need to remove them, and we simply push them from here like this. We can give it a clean a little bit, and now we remove this part, and now we carefully put it in place and push it. And I have those propellers that look really great with this drone. So look at this, guys. Look at this. Fantastic. Really, I really love how it looks. So, moment of truth, guys. Let's try this out. For this, I have this adapter, this extension cable. Actually, I did it myself because I can't put this guy, which I really recommend you guys, when you finish your build, use something like this. This is a smoke stopper, and it will prevent you from ruining your drone if something is done wrong. So let's try and see how this works. So something is wrong, guys. I'm not sure what exactly, but we have to check it out. Okay, guys, so let me tell you what I did so you won't make the same mistake as I forced the cable, this cable here, from the ESC and the flight controller. So I forced it and I didn't realize that, and I bent the pins inside, and I didn't have current flowing in the flight controller, so this is why it didn't beep the second beep. And another thing what I did is I connected to the receiver the ground to the 5 volts and the 5 volt to the ground, so I fried it instantly. But I was surprised why this one didn't detect this. It didn't detect this because the pins were bent and I didn't have current to the electricity flowing through the flight controller, and I didn't have current flowing through this guy too. So it didn't work, but I didn't fry it yet. I went to the computer to see why it is not working, the flight controller, and I put it into the USB and it fried instantly. And this is why it's good idea to use this guy. And if you don't have current into electricity into the flight controller, make sure that you have with this guy before plugging to USB, because you will do what I did. I just replaced the receiver, and now let's try to power it on. Perfect. So this was the second beep that is coming from the flight controller, and as you can see, the flight controller is indicating here. There is 4 LEDs here indicating that the battery is full. This is really nice touch from the SpeedyBee flight controller. And if you can see here, it is hard to see, but the VTX is lighting too here, and the receiver up here. So it's working and it's perfect. Now what we have to do is to go to BetaFlight and configure this drone and the receiver. Before we go to BetaFlight and configure the drone and the ESC configurator, I want quickly to weight the drone. So the drone alone is about 400 grams, and with the 1400 battery it is 630 grams, and with the smaller battery, the 1050, it is around 585 grams. First thing that we have to do is to install BlueJay on the drone for RPM filtering and stuff like this. We have VIFLY S right now, and it doesn't support RPM filtering. So for this you have to connect a USB cable here on the flight controller and connect it to your computer. It has to be a data cable, otherwise it will not work. So if it doesn't work for you, try changing the cable. I have a cable here that has an adapter, a dongle, USB to USB-C to USB normal cable, and this one came with my Avata, so try to use something similar. And here you type escconfigurator.com and you end up with this page. You have to close BetaFlight if you have it open, because BetaFlight will connect first to your flight controller. So we hit here connect, and this is the page that you have. For this to work, you have to plug a battery, but please remove your props if you have them on. And here you hit read settings. Okay. So as you can see, we have VIFLY S on all of our ESCs, and we want to flash BlueJay. So here, flash all ESCs, we select that, and firmware BlueJay and the ESC, we will not change it. It is okay like this, and the version 19.2. The PMW frequency, we select the 24 and we hit flash. Now the firmware is being flashed to the first ESC, and it will be flashed to all of our ESCs. We have the BlueJay firmware installed on our drone. Now we can disconnect. We are ready now to configure the drone on BetaFlight. But first, I want to update the firmware to the latest one. So we hit here update firmware, and we select the release and release candidate, and the board auto detect, and it detected automatically that I have the SpeedyBee 405 V4, and this is the latest version of BetaFlight, full chip erase, and you hit load firmware online, and now flash firmware. And it's successful now, and now we can connect to our BetaFlight. So we hit connect, and there's a message to apply custom defaults because the firmware is new and there is no default data. So we hit this. Now we have some messages that we will solve in a moment, but so we hit close, and first one that we will have to do is to calibrate accelerometer. We hit calibrate, and after we go to the port tab. Only thing we have to do here is to select our VTX that is available on, we installed the VTX on UART number 1, if you remember, and we have to select here at the peripherals VTX IRC tramp, and here we have at UART2 already set our receiver, our ELRS receiver in this case. Now we can save and reboot. Now we go to the configuration tab, and here we can adjust the arming angle at 150. This means that the quad will arm not only at 25 degrees maximum, will arm at any angle. It is not very safe in certain situations, but I like to keep it like this. If you feel that it is better to keep the drone in level surface, keep it like this. And here the air mode, I like to enable it via switch on my remote controller, so I will turn it off. And and here I will enable the RX lost and RX set. This means that when you will lose the drone, you can hit switch and activate the beep, the motor beep, via basically from BetaFlight. It's not, we don't have a buzzer installed here. So we hit save and reboot. Now we go to the motors tab, and here one of the messages popped out that we don't have a protocol selected, and since we installed the BlueJay firmware on our ESCs, we can select here D-Shot 600 and bidirectional D-Shot, and save and reboot. Now we don't have any error message. We go back to the motors tab, and here we need to check the direction of the motor spinning and the number, the order of the motors. If you see here, we have motor number 1, that is this one here, motor number 2, this one, 3 and 4. So we need to check this. For this we need to plug a battery again, and here go to this tab here, I understand the risk, hit this and start spinning the motors one by one. We will check the order of the motors and the direction in the same time. So we spin motor number 1, it spins, and it spins inward, which is the wrong direction. I will show you how to change this in a second. Motor number 2 is this one, which is correct, and it's spinning in the wrong direction also. Motor number 3, it's spinning in the wrong direction as well. Motor number 4 is spinning in the wrong direction also. So the motor order is correct, but the spin of the motors is completely wrong, as you can see here. So for this, we go to the motor direction here, and we understand the risk. We can select wizard and start spin. All the motors are spinning now. We check it again, this is wrong, we hit the 1, now it's spinning correctly. Motor number 2 also, so we click on this. Now it is correct. Motor number 3, it is wrong. And it is correct. Motor number 4, it is wrong. And now it is correct. Now we have all the motors in the good order, in the correct order, and they spin in the right direction. Next step that we have to do is to connect our receiver, our radio controller to our receiver. I have the ELRS receiver here protocol. I already did the binding, but you can do it really easy. You can follow my steps in the other video. I will give you the link down below. Now we have to go to the modes tab and configure our switches. This means the arming switch. This is the most important to arm the quad, and several switches that I will show you in a moment. But first we have to go to the receiver tab and select our protocol here to work with ELRS. Right now it's an S-bus that works with DJI, but we have to select here Crossfire, that is the same protocol as ELRS. And we hit save and reboot. Now if we go to the receiver tab, we see that our receiver is working and the switches are correct. So here I have the roll, here I have the yaw, pitch forward, pitch backward, and the acceleration. So now we are ready to go to the modes tab. Here the first thing we do is to arm the quad. I have the arming switch here, and we have to go to add range, and when the button is clicked, you see a yellow dot here. We have to move this bar to here. This means that when the switch is in this position, the arming is active. I have my angle mode switch here.
Angle mode, acro mode, angle mode.
So here at angle mode, add range.
Acro mode, angle mode.
And here is angle mode, so it's in the right position. Other thing that I want to do is the air mode.
Air mode.
This is the air mode, and we go here to air mode, add range, and air mode is activated in this position. This means that I have to move this bar to the left. Here I have turtle mode. Even though this is a freestyle drone, and when it's flipped upside down, it doesn't make sense to activate the turtle mode. The turtle mode means that when it is upside down, you hit this and you activate only 2 motors depending on how you want to recover. But if you are on a tree or something, maybe you can get away and recover the drone. But basically, if it is on ground, it is a little bit hard because you will damage the props, but we will activate it anyway. So here we have the flip over after crash.
Turtle mode on.
And it is in this position. And you put this here. And I have the beeper here.
Buzzer active.
This means that if I lose the drone, I can activate. If I have still connection with my remote controller, I can press this button and hear where is the drone if it is nearby. So we go here to the beeper, add range, and when we click, it is on the right position. So we move this bar to this position. Save. So now we are ready to test our modes. So let's plug a battery. Let's arm the quad.
Angle mode.
Okay, and here if you switch the flip after crash,
Turtle mode on.
if we arm the quad, you will see it will not arm. Because in this mode the quad will not arm and only will activate 2 motors when you hit, for example, the pitch forward. You see, it activated only 2 motors at a time. And here we can try the buzzer. Next step is to activate your VTX, and for this you have to go, if you are using the TX800 from SpeedyBee, you have to go to SpeedyBee website, and here you have this file, JSON file. This is actually the frequencies that you can use with the VTX. You have to upload them in BetaFlight. So I am living in the EU, in Europe, and you have to download this. If you are living in the USA, you have to download this one. So let me download this one. So it looks like this, and we hit save as, and now we go to BetaFlight and we go to the video transmitter tab, and you see we don't have any frequency here. You will see in a second. If you click load from file and you select the file that you already downloaded, you see that you have a lot of frequencies here in your table. You hit save, and next thing, we need to unlock the device enable to use different frequencies, because right now we are using, I think, the channel 1 and 25 milliwatts power. You can use higher power, but please verify the rules and regulation in your country, because maybe it is illegal to use higher than 25. I'm not sure, depending on where you live. I will unlock it only for demonstration purposes. To do this, you have to plug a battery, and here at the VTX you have a light. You can see it, it's really small, and you have a button here. You have to press the button for 10 seconds until the light is solid red. Now it's solid red. Now if we go to the video transmitter, we see that device is ready. This means that it is unlocked and ready to change the band and the frequency. You can select here the band, for example A and channel number 4. And here the power is 25, but you can select up to 800. Let's select 800 for demonstration purposes. And now you need a goggles like this, something similar. These are analog goggles, and I have here a screen with a receiver. I want to show you that we can connect to the camera, and right now we don't have any signal. Let's switch between the channels. And now this is the channel that we are on, and this is me. So perfect, now we are connected and we can fly the drone, but let us do some settings on the OSD part. Now we go to the OSD part, and here we have the low voltage message, and we select some settings. I like to see the battery voltage, the total battery voltage, and the battery cell average voltage, the flight mode, and the timer. I like to put the timer here, and the RSSI value here. Now you can see that we have some information here, like the battery voltage, and now we are in angle mode, and the timer. So now you can see the information such as battery voltage, which is very important, because at 3.5 volts per cell you need to think about landing. In this way you will keep the life of the battery healthy, and you will not end up without battery and crash somewhere. Perfect, and we are finished, guys. You can pit tune the drone a little bit, but for start you can fly it like this. It flies really well with the stock BetaFlight settings tuning, but you can play around with pit tunings or find a preset or something and try it out. But I think at first you will fly it like this and it will be perfect. So here you have it, guys. It came out just amazing. It looks amazing, and you will see in a second it flies really good. So let's head out and try this beauty. Thank you very much, guys, for watching, and see you in the next one. Thank you. Bye.